Good afternoon. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the notification bell. And today, we got ourselves another quality check. And it looks like another truckload has been dropped off. So without further ado, let's get right to it. So all right, we got ourselves another quality check. And we're going to be doing an extensive, thorough review on this recent quality check. So first off, we're going to start off with the left light to see if it's aligned properly. Beautiful. Beautiful. And we're going to check out the panel gaps for the hood to see if it's aligned properly. Beautiful. Beautiful. Left and right light both are aligned. Very nice. Now, let's look at the VIN. So, moving on to this panel over here, you can see there are no panel gaps. Beautiful. And that's what we want to see. We want to see an excellent vehicle with no panel gaps. Now, let's do the door test to see if it's flush. Oh, yes, it's flush. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now let's move on to the rear doors and check if they are both flush. Beautiful. Now let's look up here to look at see the panel gap. And that's a little bit large for me, but it is acceptable. Moving on to here. That little trunk gap is a little bit big for me. So I would ask for it to be adjusted before taking delivery. And these adjustments can be made simply from the Tesla body shop. As long as you point these imperfections out, they will be glad to fix all your problems for free. Or you can choose a new VIN. Charger door is flush. Now let's take a look at the rear. Beautiful. Beautiful. And that's what we want to see. All right. So now let's move on to see the right side rear door. And this is where we've been having a lot of problems. And it's flush. Beautiful. Let's look at the rims. Rims look amazing. And if you look over here, this gap is a lot thinner on this side, which is the right side, than it is on the left side. That's why I would ask that they adjust the trunk to see if they can get it a tighter squeeze. All right, so let's move on. Do the test. Perfect. Nice and flush. So this Model Y is very well built and definitely gets a pass, but I would tell them to adjust the trunk hatch. All right, so let's move on to another Model Y. Now let's start off by looking at the left light. And let's look at the right light. Everything seems to be aligned. Let's check out the hood. And it's looking beautiful so far. Now let's move along. Over here on this panel. It's nice. Wait a minute. If you look closely here, that gap is a little bit too big. So what I would do is ask them to adjust the driver's side door to see if they can close up that gap. If you look closely, look at that gap. It's too big of a gap. Unacceptable. All right, let's do the door test flush. Yeah, and the door is not flush. It's poked out a little bit. So the door definitely needs to be adjusted. Moving on to the rear side door. The rear side door is flush. Now let's look at over here at the top here. And this panel is not that bad. I like it. It's nice and tight. That's what we want to see. Moving on to here to the trunk. And let's see, the charger door is flush. No, the charger door is not flush. So it needs to be adjusted again. Now let's move on to the trunk. Beautiful, beautiful. Spectacular. So the back, no issues with the back. Oh, and I see this issue already. If you look over here, you'll see that the door does not line up perfectly. See that it's out a bit? That's the problem. And that's why we're not going to accept this. We're definitely going to make them adjusted. Yeah, the finger overlaps over here, so that's not good. Both the driver's side and the rear passenger right side needs to be adjusted. So, yeah. So we're not looking good here. So this Tesla is not a pass, but with those adjustments, it could be a pass. But just make sure you point that out. When you're taking delivery, you want to make sure you do a thorough check. Do not rush your delivery. You want to spend anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour looking at every single panel up and down to make sure that your car is perfect. Because you don't want to go home and have to find out that there's something wrong with your vehicle. So let's move on to another Model Y. All right, so this is a gray Model Y. And let's see if it's nice. Look at the left light. Look at the right light. Beautiful. Now the front hood. Beautiful. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Now let's look at the door here. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now let's look to see if the door lines up. Flush. Beautiful. That's what we want to see. The rear door right here. It is out a little bit. So it does need some work and adjustment. That gap is fine. Charger door is flush. Beautiful. Now let's take a look at the rear. Beautiful. All right. I see a big problem with this Tesla Model rear right door. Look at it. Look at it closely. You see what I see? See how it's not flush? And that's what you want to look for. That's what you want to point out to your sales agent. Oh, what is this? Yeah, this is just not good. Yeah, this door needs to be adjusted, or else I ain't taking delivery. So remember, do not accept unless you've done a thorough check and you are 100% happy with your product. If you're going to be spending all this money, make sure that the car is built to the best of their ability. let's move on to another Model Y. This is brand new, just been dropped off. And let's take a look at the left light. And this is the protective coating that comes on when the vehicles are being delivered. So it's just a plastic wrap. So the right light is both aligned. Now let's take a look at the hood. Beautiful. Now let's take a look at the door. Now let's do the door test to see if the door is aligned. Okay, first off, let me get the VIN. All right, so let's do the test. And to be honest, it's not flush. It's poking out a little bit. So with a teeny tiny adjustment, it would be perfect. But make sure you point it out. Make sure you rub your fingers from one door to another door in order to check if it's flush. Now let's do the rear. See if it's flush. This is good. This is what we want to see. And the gap over here, a little bit too big for me. So I definitely would point that out to my sales rep to make sure to see if they could adjust it. Now let's move on to the trunk. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's see the charger door to see if it's flush. Charger door is not flush, so that also needs to be adjusted in order to take delivery. Now we're moving on to this panel over here, nice and tight. It is tighter on the left side than it is on the right side. So let's move on to the door and look at this. Let's do the test. Surprisingly, this is a lot better. This is actually acceptable. And usually the problem stems from the right side rear door. But yeah, this is acceptable. I like it. I like it. Yeah, this one gets a pass. Moving along to this red Model Y. Now let's take a look. The left light, beautifully aligned. Let's take a look at the hood to see that there's no large panel gaps and that they're both consistent on the left side and the right side. Perfect. Right light is beautiful. Now let's look over here on the driver's side door. Very beautiful, and that's what we want to see. And this is one of my favorite colors, red. Beautiful. I also love the black color. It's just one of my two top picks. So now let's do the test. Is the door flush? And yes, it is. It is flush. Beautiful. Oh, see this gap? This is what we want to see. Nice, tight panels. Oh, this is the best one I've seen so far. Now let's moving on to the rear. All right, so this is the Performance Gray Model Y. And the way you can tell is the Uber turbine wheels and the red brake calipers. One of my most favorite rims that you can get. And I wish you could get this off menu, but it doesn't seem like you can get this off menu because Tesla's only offering it to the performance model. Now let's move on to the left light. And let's examine the hood. Beautiful. Now let's look at the right side light. And remember, this white right here is just a plastic protective coating wrap that they have on during delivery, so it prevents rock chips. That will be peeled off by the time you take delivery. Onto this door right here. Beautiful, beautiful. And that's what we want to see. Now let's do the door test to see if it's flush. It's flush. So very, very beautiful. Let's look at this gap up here. The gap's a little bit too big for me, so I would definitely ask that it could be adjusted from the Tesla body shop. Rear side door, see if it's flush. And it's not flush. It pokes out a little bit, so it needs an adjustment. Charger door to see if it's flush. Beautiful, and that's what we want to see. Looking at the rear. Nothing that I see. Rear is looking very beautiful. Now, moving on to the rear. And this problem again, right side rear door, not flush and needs an adjustment. So this seems to be a factory issue because 80 to 90% of the Model Ys that I've seen all seem to have this defect with the passenger rear door. They can't seem to get that aligned. Tesla, get your act together and fix that. Remember, most of these problems that I am pointing out will be fixed from the Tesla body shop sometimes before you even get this vehicle. Because these are fresh vehicles that's just been dropped off. They do get prepped, waxed, and minor issues do get fixed. But when you take delivery, you want to make sure that you do a thorough check yourself to make sure that you do not get yourself in a situation where you get a car with a defect. So you want to have a thorough investigation and a thorough check. All right, so that concludes our quality check. Look out for our next video and our next quality check coming soon. I will make it a priority to continue to do quality checks on Model Ys because this is the best-selling vehicle that Tesla has to offer. So we want to make sure that Tesla continues to improve their build. And that's all I got to say. So thank you and have a nice day. Hey, if you want to win a $50 Amazon gift card, all you have to do is like, share, comment, and subscribe. And the first 1,000 subscribers will be entered into a draw to win this